So, have you ever wondered what an aging, lifelong otaku finds appealing about anime, especially the anime that is out today? Well, I'm going to tell you, whether you've ever asked yourself that question or not. So, let's review some anime. So first, let me point out that up until now, all of my videos have been pre-written, and that's because I'm not real comfortable with some of the information that I'm giving out. But I would like to make more that where I'm just sitting here talking, and then I wouldn't be looking down at my screen all the time. So let's see how this works. I should be able to do this with just notes. I'm a teacher after all. I should be able to do that, right? Okay. So, what do I like? First of all, let's lay some parameters. So, the basic things, good stories. I think everybody wants a good story. I want to know what's going to happen next. I want to be engaged with the story. I want the story to be unique, and I want it to be interesting. Strong characters. I want to be able to look at the character and feel like, do I like him? Do I not like him? Am I on his side? Am I not on his side? All of these things. They also need to be unique characters. I don't want a cardboard character. I don't want to see the same character over and over again, which you do see in a lot of animes. I want him to be unique, or her to be unique, something different. I just like humor. And that's something great about anime. They like to put humor into their animes, and it's a good thing, because there's some things that you watch and you're like, why are you taking yourself so seriously? Jeez, just lay off, cool it, lighten up a little bit. Now, it doesn't mean it has to have humor. It's just better if it does. And other things I like, science fiction, spaceships, mechs, things like that. I also like urban fantasy, like things that are happening today. Now, that doesn't mean I wouldn't watch something in feudal Japan. I would like to. I just haven't even seen any yet. I know they're out there. I haven't gotten to them, because I would like to, because I do like historical works. I like historical fiction and like that and stuff like that. So I'm going to check some of that out when I have the time. What I don't like, too much gore. So much of the anime is just blood everywhere. Somebody gets killed and it's splashing and it's all over the floor and they're bleeding out. It's just gross. Started watching Chainsaw Man, and I didn't get past the first episode because come on. I can't handle too much. I mean, I understand a certain amount, but yeah. Another thing that really turns me off is squeaky voices. Oh my God, I cannot stand the squeaky voices. I can stand them for like maybe, a minute or two. But if it's on the whole episode, it's like it's grating like chalk on a blackboard. And I understand that it's a cultural thing in Japan where the women speak, have higher voices. And that's just the way, they're expected to behave. But in America, we don't. There's really no reason for them to have these squeaky voices if they're speaking English. But they do anyway. Ugh. Then there's the over-sexualized female characters. They put some clothes on. Your boobs are so big, you're going to fall over. Just really, come on. And then, of course, you do all that and a squeaky voice. No, I'm done with that one. I'm done with that episode, that show, completely. Another thing, fights that last longer than an episode. No. I'm not there to watch fights. And this is the reason I stopped watching My Hero Academia. Their fights would last. My God. They would go on for an entire season, it felt like. And the same thing happened with One Piece. I got up to like episode 500, and the fights were an entire season, because so many of them had to show their fights. You got all these characters who are all fighting, and it's boring. I don't care. I want to see characters. I want to see story. Get on with it. So no, I don't care for those. If it lasts, it can be one episode, but it's got to stop. It has to end. And the last thing is fantasy, hacky fantasy. That isekai stuff, that's not for me. That's where you find the over-sexualized, squeaky voice girls. And also the most stereotyped characters, and I just have no desire to watch that. I don't even read fantasy very much. Most of the fantasy I've ever read is actually science fiction fantasy, but yeah, I don't care for it. So today I'm going to review 3 shows that I currently watch. And the first one is Dan Da Dan. Now in Dan Da Dan, it's just your average nerdy boy and a popular girl in, I don't know if they're in high school or middle school, not that it matters. And the boy is like obsessed with aliens and UFOs. And he really believes in these things. And the girl believes in ghosts. Now the boy does not believe in ghosts, and the girl does not believe in aliens and UFOs. So at some point they get together and they talk about this. So then they have to prove it to each other. They want to prove to the other person that these things do exist. So they decide to go to a haunted tunnel where they've heard that, well, it's haunted. They're going to see if they can find some ghosts. They do. They find some spirits, dangerous ones, and they meet Turbo Granny, who is this evil spirit who you just have to see it. I'm not even sure how to describe her. But she inhabits Okarun for a little bit. Oh, their names are Okarun and Momo. And she inhabits the boy for a little while, and then he becomes this strange demon hybrid, so that he's very strong and he can fight whenever he's that hybrid. But then she leaves it and she becomes this, I'm not even sure what you would call this. It's like this little kitty cat doll. It's this guy right here. As this one right here. She becomes this. And honestly, that's hilarious. So that's great. But anyway, so those are those 2. And they have 2 friends. They have Jin, who also was possessed by a spirit demon. And this demon just wants to kill. That's all he wants to do, is kill everybody and everything in sight. But Jin can control him to a certain extent, as long as nobody drops cold water on him. Because if they do, then his guy comes out, starts killing people, and he has to come back in and drop some warm water on him. Very strange. Then they have a friend, this girl whose name I can't remember, who also becomes something supernatural. So there's the 4 kids who are these supernatural people, able to fight other supernatural beings. But they're all kind of led, not necessarily led, but the head of the household is Granny Seiko, and she's awesome. She's kind of this sexy grandma. She has white hair and she smokes a lot. She wears glasses, but she's a little acerbic, kind of sarcastic. I love her attitude about everything. She's great. And there was one episode, it's a very strange show. They fight weird creatures like giant Buddhas. And then there was one where they were in a music room in the school, and all of the posters of all the classical composers came alive, and they had to fight these guys and their music. It was very strange, but I loved it. Is it kid-friendly? No. This one, there's too much language, too many adult situations. I would never allow children, like anybody younger than high school, I wouldn't let them watch this. So, but it's a good show, and it's really funny. That's why I like it. It's also very intelligent. It's unique, and that's what I like about it, the unique, different things. I also like that there's 2 grannies in it who are just awesome. There's Granny Seiko and Granny Turbo Granny. There was another old woman in it who was a bad guy. It's just like, please give me more, strong old ladies. I love it. So that's Dan to Dan, and I recommend it highly. I think there's 2 seasons. We're waiting for season 3. Awesome. The second one that I would like to watch is Gachiakuta. Now, this is totally different. This one is science fiction. It's a post-apocalyptic stories. And this world, you've got basically 2 worlds. You have the sphere where people live who are basically pretty well off, most of them. You still have classes, you still have underclasses and overclasses. And this one kid, Rudo, who has lost both his parents, and he picks through the garbage to find things to repair, to recycle. It's kind of a gift that he has. But he lives with this man who was a friend of his father's, I think. But he gets killed, and they all blame Rudo. So they send him to the pit. And the pit basically throws him off the sphere. And they assume that everybody goes to the pit dies. But he doesn't. He lands in this other world, this kind of post-apocalyptic wasteland, and he meets the cleaners and becomes a giver, which is just someone who has a special power connected to an item, an inanimate object. And his are gloves. And there's one that has an umbrella. There's one that has scissors. One that has boots, I believe. But yeah, they're all very interesting. But the thing about this show is that it's very gritty. Rudo is not a person that I really care for. His whole thing is that he's very angry and he just wants to get back to the sphere and have his vengeance. So his friends are basically like, okay, we'll see if we can get you back up there. And they're the nice people, honestly. And I guess I like it because I like them. I like the camaraderie. I like how they treat him and how they are, how they react with each other and how they protect each other. But yeah, him, not so much. But yeah. Now, is it kid-friendly? Not really. You have adult situations and you have language, so it's not something I would show to middle schoolers or anybody lower than that. Why do I like it? It's different. It's all, it is adventure. It is a lot of fighting, but you've got magic, you've got science, you've got that whole mix. You've got the post-apocalyptic ideas. Everything is in there. And then I like the world that they have created, and it's like I said, it was gritty, but I was also thinking the post-apocalyptic part. It's also very well drawn. It's beautiful. It's a stylized drawing that I really like. So the artwork, I like that a lot too. So I do recommend it. I believe they just finished up their first season on that one. And the last one is Solo Leveling. Now, this one is your basic. It's not basic. You would think it is. At first, I didn't want to watch it because it was like, Dungeons and Dragons, people getting into the playing, becoming, sword and sorcery and all this stuff, and then just wasn't interested. But then I started watching it, and I realized that it's not that. It's this guy, Jinu, who he is a low-rank hunter. Now, in this world, the gates have opened up it's in Korea because this is a Korean show. These gates have opened up, and they're basically dungeons. So people have to go into the dungeons and kill the beasts before they come out and start killing people. And there's a group of people who are hunters, and they are awakened. They suddenly find out that they can go and they can do this. They have the power to go into these dungeons and clean them out. And they're ranked from E, which is the lowest, to C, B, A, and then S. And Jinu is an E rank. He's considered like the weakest hunter in the world. But he really needs to make the money that they get when they go into the dungeons so that he can help pay for his mother, who is in the hospital. She's got a sleeping sickness. She's been there for quite a while, and he's taking care of the sister. So he's got to do it. And what happens is he goes into this one particular dungeon, and all hell breaks loose. And he is basically given a chance, a second chance. He wishes for a second chance, and he gets it. And he becomes the kind of hunter they've never seen before, but he hides it, which is really great. I think that's one of the things that makes it so interesting is he's hiding it from people. He can level up, which other hunters cannot do. So that's why I call it solo leveling, because he goes into these dungeons by himself. He does not want anybody with him. He doesn't want anybody to see what he can do. He just keeps leveling up and leveling up and leveling up. And there's a system that it's basically a computer that's telling him, you've leveled up, you've earned this, you've earned that, you have to do this, you have to do that, like a video game. And what I really like about it, though, is that he since he's hiding it, it's like, who is this guy? He once he becomes this person, after he's still considered an E rank. So he keeps going with these people. And every time he goes into a dungeon, it seems like something happens, and suddenly the dungeon isn't as safe as it was, and he has to save their lives. But he has to do it like on the down low. And meanwhile, he's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. What I found interesting, though, is when he starts, he's like this little, he's not a kid so much, just kind of he's short and he's soft-spoken and blah, blah, blah. But you don't even realize that like almost every episode is changing just a little bit more. He's getting stronger. He's getting bigger. He's growing, and his voice changes. So by the time you get to the second season, he's like a foot taller. He's buff as all get out, and he's got this deep voice. Even even his sister starts to go, "Wait a minute, what's going on here?" But they don't do it like boom, like that. It's subtle, and I like that. So it doesn't have any of that isekai silliness that most of that D&D stuff has, and I love that about it. I guess that's because it's Korean. The only women it has in it are his sister, his mother, who's in hospital, the healer, who becomes his friend, and then there's another S-ranked hunter, Hunter Cha, who you could see she's into him, but still there's really not a whole lot of interaction between him and women, so it's just this guy. And is it kid friendly? Pretty much. The second episode is ridiculously gory. I mean, there's blood everywhere. People are losing limbs. They're getting squished. They're getting cut in half. That I thought was too much. But I managed to get past it because I did find it interesting. Because the rest of it is not like that. It's not that bad. Yes, there are people slashing and hacking, but it's mostly demons and monsters and things like that, which I don't find the same as doing that to people. So yeah, I think kids could watch it. And why I like it? Because it's different. I mean, it had me on the edge of my seat. Usually I'm sitting there like doing other things like playing a puzzle or crocheting or whatever. But this one I had to put it down to watch the show. And that means a lot. That really means a lot. So I do recommend Solo Leveling. I hope there's 2 seasons. I hope there's going to be season 3 because there is at least one thing they have left hanging. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, so that's it for my reviews for today. If you would like me to talk about anything more or discuss, please let me know. And if you like this one, subscribe, and I'll see you later.